Hi, Brian here. Long overdue update on the Angelshire Model Railways. Basically, I've been busy in a new job and working quietly in the background on various things, one of them being this diorama, the pictures that you're looking at just now. Basically, I wanted to have a generic diorama that didn't have any specific scaled items in it so that I could have various scales of locomotives on the double O gauge track in order to take photographs of stock for layouts that I've still yet to build. So I thought a little 2-track diorama simulated in a kind of mountain forest area would be ideal for a generic scene. So what I've done here is actually built it up using Das clay and plaster of Paris and basically shaped the landforms round about the tracks, and I've got a little ditch there that'll have water in it. That's the lorry area on the left of the track there. So painting it brown and green to have a various tones before I put scatters on. Rails are painted, sleepers are painted, and basically I started putting down various ground cover. That's using fine turf, coarse scatters, obviously ballasting the track using a fine blend grey ballast, using some larger stones, some twigs, some forest shrubbery, various green foliages and sea foaming, etc., just to build up the scenes as you see here. So slowly but surely over the past month or so, working on it in the evenings, I've built this up and started to do trees. That's basically a paintbrush, drilled holes in the side and put wires for the branches. These are the wire type trees that you make from florist wire. You strand it until you form branches, etc. That one's a wooden dowel tree. I've used fibre paste on that to create the bark and painted it to make it look tree-like. Here are some practice shots where we see a double O gauge on the track. Here we have ON30, which is O scale narrow gauge. HO, which will be the next layout I'll build. We'll talk about that in a minute. And back to double O gauge. So you can see that the scenic area should work perfectly. More trees. The one on the right is the paintbrush with the little bits of wire put in it, covered in various long stems of static grass. Trying out an autumn tree here using the autumn foliage for woodland scenics. That's the base underside of it. Some more of the shrubbery and the details. During this period I built a 1:35 scale World War II Harley Davidson motorbike. This is from a friend who I'd done the Iron Maiden Aces High Spitfire diorama for, so I built him the motorbike so that Eddie had a reason to be there, taking pictures of it on my diorama. That's it, built and painted and weathered and detailed. And I took it round to his house and basically put it on his diorama, and here we can see it in place. So Eddie showed up on that motorbike ready to take off in his Spitfire, and I used the spare graphics to make a sign for the front of his diorama. These are my logging cars that I got, River Rossi, found them online, great deal, come with the logs and a logging caboose, ideal towards my next project. Also, I used the diorama to photograph my K3 locomotive in LNER black. Also my J15, which I think I'll agree look quite smart. This one is my Bachmann 060 slope tender locomotive. It has been weathered and real coal added by TMC. Here's a little running shot of it. This will go along with my Pride and Joy, which will be expected later on this year, and that is the KR Models Shea locomotive. It actually doesn't look out of place on the Angelshire Whisky Distillery layout, but I had to run it somewhere. I think you'll agree it looks excellently weathered and it will look great on the layout when I build it. I also bought 2 freight vans. These are Ontario Northland. I was born in Ontario, hence the affiliation for these boxcars, which I've decided to go ahead and weather. And one's heavily weathered and one's kind of slightly weathered. Felt the bottom one was maybe too heavily weathered. I eventually removed some of the weathering off of that and dulled it down and added some rust patches at the bottom. I wanted one to look a little bit more worn than the other. Celebration indeed. I've been after a Class 20 BR blue with yellow ends for the Angel share for some while, so I was stoked to get this at £65 off a great seller on eBay. It runs, it looks great, and it has weathering already applied. I'm a very happy camper. An excellent addition to the Angel share.
A few moments later.
Here we are back at the Angel Share Whisky Distillery, and we see Angel 2 at the fuel point. We have some empty open wagons that have delivered the whisky barrels there. There's a grain wagon inside the warehouse. Angel 1's on siding 1, and there's a baggage van full of whisky there, ready to all make up the departing train. There's the film crew, ready to capture the arrival of the Class 20 at Strathelder. These 4 box vans arrive empty, and they'll be filled up with some of the whiskies distillery's finest golden liquid. Angel 1 moves out onto the station line, takes the box van and one of the box vans off of the train. Now what it's done is also moved the 3 other box vans in a position that the Class 20 can run round them. Angel 1 now reverses back with the Highland Railways box van, the brake van, and pushes it into that siding, detaches from the train and heads off scene to the sidings down the line to let the Class 20 move into siding 1. Angel 1 returns from the sidings after an all clear signal from the signal box to resume moving the brake van, guards van into the head of the station line, where it can then place the 3 open wagons which are due on the outbound train. Class 20 can now back onto the 3 open wagons and the brake van and take them away from that area and return them to the sidings further down the line to receive more barrels to bring back to the distillery. I think you'll agree, the Class 20 looks smart on the Angel Share, runs smoothly and doesn't look out of place at all. An excellent acquisition, just shows you've got to shop around to get the bargains. Now Angel 2 is refueled, we swap Angel 1 with Angel 2 at the fuel point and the signal box. Angel 2 is now under control of the signal box, while Angel 1 heads back to the fuel area to get topped up for its next round of duties. It keeps it all interesting, throwing these different parts into doing a shunting layout. Having 2 locomotives work a small inglenook is quite tricky. It's not easy to use both locomotives or to justify having 2 locomotives at a distillery like this, but it certainly gives me plenty fun and options when I'm doing my shunting, and it also gives me an opportunity to have different locomotives running in pairs on this layout, including the on-off scene locomotives like the diesel rail car, the Class 27, the steam locos, etc. Now Angel 2 will move into action and start taking over the duties for this shift at the Angel Share. So a big thank you to all my subscribers, and thank you for your patience for the past few months where I haven't had any uploads. I obviously been busy, as I said, and I'm looking forward to getting more uploads done, sharing some more plans with you on the layout ideas for the HO scale login layout and any more stock that I have due inbound. I actually have a couple of grain wagons due for the Angel Share, so I'll share all that in the next update and the next part of this running session, including my new Class 20. Thanks again, take care, all the best.